I make pictures for my own pleasure. Actually, I hope you enjoy them too. But let me show you what I'm up to.
I'm Martin Hunt. Jasper Johns was once asked how he makes art. He said, first you do something, then you do something else, and you carry on like that until you're done. I work that way. My worldview is scientific, and I'm struck by how the complexity of reality is enabled by a pretty small number of pretty simple things and processes. I like to write computer programs that simulate various natural processes. The underlying process can be simple, but the result can be complex and amazing. For example, consider the pattern of florets at the center of a daisy or sunflower. Notice how similar the patterns are even though made by different plants. And notice how each floret fits snugly with all its neighbors in a very complex yet ordered pattern. Last spring, I wrote a program that simulates the pattern found at the center of a daisy or sunflower. The output is like this. How is this done? We start very simply with a dot. Using that dot as a center, we make another dot a certain distance away. The red line connects the new dot to the center. Then, still standing at the center, turn by a certain number of degrees. Increase the distance away from the center by a constant factor and place a dot. Repeat that process until we are done. I set the limit at 500 dots. This makes what I call an underlying spiral. The process gives us two controls on the shape that emerges, the turn amount and the distance from the center for each new dot. This process makes an infinite number of underlying spirals. But consider the case we just saw. We can still see the underlying spiral of black lines, but now the spacing of the dots dominates what we perceive. The dots with the closest proximity to each other link visually to make another set of 8 spirals. That is, the underlying spiral generates metaspirals. I am fascinated by the forms that are generated. They have a sort of inhuman perfection. Besides the basic controls of turn and distance from center, I can choose whether to show the lines or dots or both. I can vary the colors of the lines in a systematic way that brings out surprising structure. Let's turn off the dots and just look at the lines. Here's a sequence made by changing the turn angle by 1 degree. The metaspirals are apparent, and they seem to spin in 2 different directions, and each image is so different from the others that we don't see an animation. Here's another sequence that changes the turn by 1/10 of a degree, starting where the first one did. These images are similar enough to each other that the sequence is an animation, and we see the metaspirals at the start spinning one way, and at the end they are spinning the other way. And in one image, the metaspirals disappear and a square emerges. This investigation of spirals is just the latest of many similar ones that I've done. Producing this video has expanded my capabilities a lot. Many thanks to the Vancouver Outsider Arts Festival and the Community Arts Council of Vancouver for enabling this.